Get ready. Get set. It's time for the basement view. Hey, what's going on, everyone? How's everybody today? My goodness, we just about through March, thank goodness, man. And we had some good weather today. Had some good sunny weather today. How's everyone doing? It's me, Jeff, here at the Basement View. Glad to be back. Man. Weather was so sunny today, I almost forgot to show up. I was out there enjoying that sunshine. It's literally still sunny outside. This is, for me, a good thing. Hey, Ronnie, what's happening? Yeah, we made another day. I tell you what. Wasn't without foolishness, though. Hey, James, what's happening? Was not without foolishness. Absolute, just plain foolishness. Hopefully, we can get through this. We know it's going to be tons of shenanigans. We already know that. So, and a lot of it. Yep. Absolutely right. Let me start off first with conservatives. Okay, I gotta start off with MAGA. Let's start with that. MAGA is jacked up. Okay, we know this. We're gonna go into today's happenings, but I gotta start with this because I have to point out how jacked up they are every opportunity I get. Let's check it out.
The difference between progressive and conservative ideologies in a nutshell is this. Progressives would rather feed everyone rather than see one person go starving. Conservatives, on the other hand, would rather everyone starve, including themselves, rather than see one person eat that they feel didn't earn it. This is why they'd rather shut down the Board of Education and lose funding for their own schools rather than see kids in Chicago get a computer. And this is why they wanted to eliminate affirmative action. They'd rather take away opportunities for their own mothers, sisters, and daughters than give a black woman a college scholarship. That's why there are farmers crying all across this app. It's because in their drunken rush to further harm already marginalized people, they didn't think twice about how this may harm farmers all around the country who were barely holding on. So this is what the modern conservative coalition has evolved into. A coalition of the uninformed willing to cut off America's nose to spite its face.
So now you hate the Swedes. How many outlets for your hate do you have, Helen? We haven't been able to find a new house because of your multiplicity of them. We can't buy near a school because you hate kids. They make noise. And there can't be any Jews or Catholics in the block either. And oh yes, it can't be anywhere near the Polish or Italian sections. And of course, Negroes have to be avoided at all costs. Now let's see. No Jews, no Catholics, no Italians, no Poles, no children, no Negroes. Do I have the list right so far? And now you've added Swedes. And oh yes, you won't use a Chinese laundry because you distrust Orientals. And you think the British are snobbish, the Russians fearful, the French immoral, the Germans brutal, and all Latin Americans lazy. What's your plan? To cut humanity out? Are you anti-people and anti-life? Must you suffocate every natural instinct in our daughter, too? Must you label young love-making as cheap and wanton and indecent? Must you persist in making sex itself a filthy word?
Did you see that face? Hey, Carmen. Did you see that face? That's the face of the MAGA party. okay? When you point out to them how jacked up they are, okay? That's how jacked up they are. My goodness. The amount of garbage spewed over the last weekend. Wow. Okay. I had to get that out. I just had to start there. Bear with me. All right. So, the latest of today. Just the latest. Just hot off the presses. Okay? There was a strike over the weekend. At the end of last week, there was a strike in Yemen. I'm sure you probably heard something about it. The United States launched a small attack on Yemen because of the Houthi attacks on shipping in the Red Sea. And they are supposedly backed by Iran. Okay. Well, as it turns out, as they were making the plans for this attack, they were texting each other over an encryption app. I won't mention the name of that app. Those of you know. But in that texting chain, I should broadcast that clip on all social media. You know what? I may do that. I really do like that clip. You know, you might, if you're talking about the one I just played. But during this texting, they included in the text chain an Atlantic magazine reporter by the name of Jeffrey Goldberg. While the Vice President, Secretary of Defense, the National Security Director are all in this text chain. All of the top officials in defense and intelligence. And they managed to include a reporter for a magazine in the text chain that included the plans for an actual operational military strike and a future strike. And no, you can't make that up. Now, I've been asked several questions about this, and yes, they were texting. Yes, they do have telephones that are government issued that are encrypted, but it is not clear that they were using those. Secondly, who included the reporter in the text chain? Can somebody tell me that? And did anybody do a roll call during the text chain? I mean, when you are about to strike a country militarily, that is the highest classification of secrecy. Now, you or I, should we have leaked information like that, you know where we would be right now. You know where we would be. This is what happens when you take rank amateurs and put them in positions that they have zero qualification for. When you take incompetence, proven incompetence, okay, we talking, no doubt they probably thought he was someone else. Ronnie, my dear, nobody asked if there was anybody in the text chain that shouldn't be there. Nobody did a roll call. Nobody asked, hey, is there a name on here that hasn't been called? You know, you know how you do a roll call at your typical company meeting? You know, your typical conference call? Your typical Zoom meeting? You know, that was just plain incompetence. That was incompetence. And it can't be called anything else. That cannot be called, you know how your group chat and a number is similar to another. Well, okay. If let me let's back up. If you are making a military strike presentation, if you are presenting war plans, I hope you are not just thumbing through your phone and just picking numbers. I hope that's not how you're doing it. Ronnie, you may be right. If you are right, they were thinking like civilians. You are absolutely correct. You know why? Because they are civilians. They're civilians that have been put in positions they got no business in. We are in so much trouble. Could you imagine? Can you imagine the glee that the Russian, Chinese, North Korean spy networks must be feeling at this moment? These spy networks, you know, for lack of a better way of putting this, they must be spreading DNA all over the rooms, if you know what I mean. They got... This is incredible. This is a level of incompetence that I've literally never heard. You know, yes, Ronnie, they were thinking like civilians because that is what they are. They are civilians. And they are well in over their head, okay? And those professionals out there around the world, my goodness, are we in trouble? And this is the first time out. And let's remind ourselves, this is after fools like J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth, who were in on the text chain. This is after they went into Europe talking shit to those people as if they knew what the hell they were talking about. Imagine. In the words of Fred said, you big dummy. Absolutely. You big dummy. Yes, absolutely. Can you imagine the laughter around the world? You know, imagine class this morning at KB Spy School. You know, imagine this gotta be Spy No 101, you know? Wow. I don't know what to tell you. This is just something for the record books. This is what happens when you take a Fox weekend talk show host and add that to some guy who spent a year with a billionaire fuzzy, under his fuzzy navel for a year and make him vice president and a whole host of other incompetents. This is what happens. Wow. Hey, Charles, what's happening? Glad you could make it. We were just sitting here, just bedazzled by the incompetence that has been on display today after it was revealed that the powers that be shared their war plans with a civilian news reporter while they were literally in an active excursion overseas. That is, and imagine, the reporter described it as, hey, I thought somebody was fucking with me. I thought somebody was bullshitting me until I started seeing the strikes actually happening on TV. Wow. So there. So that's what we got going. We would have done better with Bumpy Johnson. Yeah, you know what? But yeah, Bumpy Johnson at least would have, had a little more professionalism about it, Absolutely. Hey, I'm for Bumpy Johnson all day, every day. He was at least a professional. My goodness. This is crazy. So, I'm sure, now if it is discussed at all on Fox News, it's going to be turned completely around. It's going to be the reporter had somehow hacked into the stream and, it was his fault. It's going to be or maybe, you know what? Maybe it was Biden's fault or Obama's or even the Clintons. It's going to be everyone's fault except those incompetents that was involved. Okay? They going, they're going to make it all a lie. All that, yeah. Yeah, Charles, absolutely. We know it. Fox got away. Fox, oh, they gonna gussy it up. That's gonna be the prettiest pig you ever saw once it shows up on Fox. And Newsmax and the Christian Broadcast Channel and Moody Radio. For those of you out there that are Christians, those networks are the Christian arm of Fox News. Did I hear the leaked conversation? You mean which conversation? Because there's been several conversations. There was, I'm thinking one about, is it the one about J.D. Vance that was kind of pissed off? Yeah, J.D. Vance was pissed off about Elon, and Elon's not the big shot he is. Is that the conversation we talking about? The one where, I'm the big shot, not Elon. He's just cosplaying. Is that the conversation? Now, take that conversation and imagine the person having that conversation in the text chain about an actual war strike. Yeah, I'm elected, not him. Yeah, he's just cosplaying. that guy in that conversation is in the text chain of a war strike. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the guy that put the reporter, in the text chain. I wouldn't be surprised. These are incompetent people. You also got Elon on Fox News acting like he was a victim. Elon Musk on Fox News crying for, of all things, sympathy. He said sympathy. He literally, earlier in this thing, said sympathy is a bad trait that America has. It's a fault to be sympathetic. But he's on Fox News saying, oh, the left, I thought they had sympathy. And he hasn't done any harm. Tesla hasn't done any harm, and he hasn't done any harm. Okay. So this is what we stuck with, folks. More of the same. More of the same. Hey, the weather's getting warmer, and the days are getting longer, and also in the news, Bernie and AOC had a great big crowd out there in Denver and I believe Arizona and a couple places. Huge crowd. I am not really high on the crowds that they're getting because I don't know how effective any of that's going to be. I've got an opinion about what should happen. I'll go into that a little later. So that's that. One other thing that I want to talk about right now. Did any of you hear the conversation that the Commerce Secretary had on a podcast where he stated people shouldn't need their social security check so badly. If his grandmother missed her social security check, she wouldn't be calling the social security office looking for it. She'd be okay. You should be okay if your social security check, is missed for 1 month. Here, let's play this conversation.
You had the Secretary of Commerce earlier today who suggested that if his mother-in-law missed a payment on Social Security.
I think I have that soundbite. I'm going to play it. Yeah. Let's play that soundbite.
Let's say Social Security didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain. She just wouldn't. She'd think something got messed up, and she'll get it next month. Yeah. A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining. And if all the guys who did PayPal, like Elon knows this by heart, right? Anybody who's been in the payment system and the process system knows the easiest way to find the fraudster is to stop payments and listen. Yeah. Because whoever screams is the one stealing.
Brother John, his mother-in-law wouldn't need to call the Social Security office. She could call her son-in-law. He's worth $2 billion.
So here's the problem. I think
everything there is the problem.
So I think he means well.
Sure.
And he's gone into public service. So I commend him for that. But he's got a blind spot, and it's called the working person. You just can't appreciate that when you've not gone through, you've been on a bus stop, or you've not been in a public restroom or a public airport in 20 or 30 years. And of course, his mother-in-law is going to go to him if she has a problem. 73% of my clients at Operation Hope are living from paycheck to paycheck. 70% of Americans are living from paycheck to paycheck. Most folks have too much month at the end of their money in this country. And you're right.
They have too much month at the end of their money. That's something.
And if you've paid into Social Security your whole life, this country has made a promise to you and owes you a debt. You've done nothing wrong. And the average person who misses a payment is not going to say, I think I'll wait till next month. They're rightly so wondering why the government has not kept their promise. The government made a promise and should keep it. And if the Secretary of Commerce went to one of his clients in his business who didn't make a bond payment on time or a commercial payment on time, he wouldn't say, oh, we'll catch you next quarter. He'd say, you had a contract and I expect you to keep it.
Okay, my bad. I said his grandmother. This was his mother-in-law. So your mother-in-law, if she missed her check, she's not going to worry about it. Says the billionaire married to her daughter. You see what happens when we put billionaires in charge? Carmen, you said people depend on that money. People depend on that money so much that if they miss a payment, that could ruin them. That could ruin some people, missing that payment. And this man wants to say, if you come calling looking for that payment, you must be a fraudster. You're a thief. Hey, Charles, you say she shouldn't be getting a Social Security check anyway. Well, if she worked and if she, did what she needs to do, she should be getting a check. She deserves a check if she's on the rolls. I'm not going to step out on a limb and call her a fraudster or a thief. I wouldn't want to do that. But this is what happens. This is the billionaire class. Understand something. Understand this. Okay, check this out. Billionaires are so completely divorced of any reality that you or I may experience. He can't fathom anything, any experience that you or I are having. Nothing. Okay, he doesn't identify with you or I in any way. I'm surprised. I'm literally surprised that he even knows his mother's getting Social Security. His mother-in-law is getting Social Security. That's a surprise to me that he even knows it. You know, I literally can't believe he sat there. And I would bet that the people he was talking to were probably billionaires. They were at least rich. I'd be willing to bet. Because he wouldn't have been there. He wouldn't have paid anybody else any attention. He wouldn't have appeared on anybody else's show. So who was that performance for? Who was that performance for? It was for the idiots that voted for these people that fall for this garbage. And I bet a bunch of them sat there and listened to that and said, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Talk about stupid. I mean, and out of touch. Completely out of touch. I tell you what, every day I'm happier and happier that I'm not a young person just starting out in this. Excuse me. Every day I'm getting happier and happier that I'm not just starting out in this period, because this is crazy. So again, let's grin and bear it. Now, as for AOC and Bernie Sanders, the rallies that they're holding, I think that's a positive thing. It's a positive thing. But it is my opinion, and I've thought about this quite a bit, because quite frankly, early on, I was for, storming the gates. Early on, I was feeling it. But after more thought and listening to some of these other black folks and their feelings on it, I realized that this literally isn't our fight. I literally believe in my heart of hearts that back when Chuck Schumer had the chance, he should have let the government get shut down. Because, if the government is shut down, it's a lot of stuff Trump ain't going to be able to do. If it's shut down, he can't just walk in and open it up if it's shut down. He can't order people to work. So that's one thing. And the effect of this administration and this Congress would have been felt right now. We don't need this to be stretched out. We need the effects of this election to be felt today. You know, we need this train wreck to go ahead and happen. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. My opinion is this. What needs to happen is his supporters need to feel the pain so bad that they turn on him. Because they are the ones who needs to storm the gates. They're the ones who gave us this problem. They need to feel the pain, and they need to be the ones storming the gates. That's my opinion. What do you say, Ronnie? It's a matter of time before the rich devour each other. It will start with JD and Elon. You know, I wish I could be a fly on the wall for that one. Two rich punks being ruled by an old rich punk. And that is true too, because they are all rich, spoiled brats. It's a club full of rich, spoiled brats. And they're literally fighting over the toys. Okay? They're fighting over the toys. And it's on display. The problem with that is you and I see it. Fox News, Newsmax, Moody Radio, Christian Broadcasting Network, they don't show that to them. You see, you and I see it. We see it because the sources that we are in tune to show it. We go out and dig into real journalism. And I'm going to get into journalism a little bit after this. They're not seeing it. This is the reason I say they need to feel it. This train needs to go ahead and crash. Okay? So they can actually feel it. And what needs to happen is while this train is crashing, the Democratic National Committee should be showering the airwaves in rural and MAGA areas with commercial after commercial, asking them how they feel, how they are affected. How do you like what's happening in your Social Security? How do you like what's happening at your job? Do you still have your job? How's your farm doing? How's your children doing in school now that the Department of Education is not funding your school system anymore? Okay? Places like Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky, Tennessee, these people rely on that money more than any of us do. Okay? These need to be commercials that are played on a regular basis in those areas as the train crashes. Okay? They need to feel it. Don't stop the train from crashing. The Democrats do it all the time. Stop the train from crashing because too many people will be hurt. You know, if the train crashes, we all gonna be hurt. How many times we been hurt? We've been hurt a lot. We know what it's like to be hurt. Ouch. It hurts. You know. Can I get an amen? We know what it's like to hurt. They need to feel the hurt. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. They need to turn the supporters of these people, show them the error of their ways. That's what they need to do. Show them the error of their ways. Let them hurt. And I mean let them hurt damn bad. Because guess what? Most of these cuts and stuff, you know what? You know how many of them government jobs is in Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Virginia? Them cuts that they making, those government buildings, they in all of those states. And let me tell you something. If you've heard Trump come out and say, well, don't worry about student loans and Pell Grants. That'll be took care of in the Small Business Administration. Now, let's examine that statement. Pell Grants and student loans are going to be handled in the Small Business Administration. Well, I guarantee you, when he said that, there was a motherfucker that wrote Project 2025, that wrote that chapter, banging his head against the wall. Because guess what? That's exactly what the people that wrote Project 2025 was thinking. But guess what didn't happen? This fool didn't take time to put all that shit into the works. They didn't take time to let those systems merge. They just shut it down. So check this out. You go and you fill out some Pell Grant paperwork or student loan deferment and send that shit to the Small Business Administration and see what happens to it. See what happens to that paperwork when you send it there. There's no mechanism, no infrastructure, no computer program, no people at the Small Business Administration that know a damn thing about Pell Grants or student loans. So go ahead, fill your paperwork out and send it in. You know, you're applying for a student loan to go to college, Pell Grant, you know, or your school system, you know, your local high school need funding for some infrastructure. Go ahead and submit that paperwork to the Small Business Administration and see what the hell happened with that paperwork. What's this? Where'd that come from? Put that back. Never saw that. They don't know a damn thing about that paperwork. Don't know what to do with it. Oh. And let's not forget FEMA. Let's not forget FEMA. He literally's gutted FEMA. The people. You know, he's cutting the people out of FEMA. Now, we got natural disasters happening every day. What did he say? What did he say? Well, FEMA will be taken care of by Homeland Security. FEMA's going to be taken care of by Homeland Security. Now, the person that wrote that section of Project 2025 is banging his head against the wall. You know why? Because they didn't take the time to merge the departments, get the computer systems right, the paperwork right, the infrastructure, the people. No. So, when your house get wiped out by a tornado, hurricane, let's see, any number of disasters that can happen, wildfires, any number of disasters, go ahead and fill out that FEMA paperwork, that disaster relief grant, that loan. Fill it out and send it to Homeland Security and see what happens to it. I can imagine the motherfucker taking that out the basket. What's this? Somebody needs a disaster relief loan. Let's see. I wonder who handles disaster relief loans. Here, let me put that back. Somebody will get that. You all that's done worked in the office know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. That shit gonna sit in the basket while the person out there that need the relief waiting. Man, I sent that off a month ago. I ain't heard nothing yet. Let me dial the number that they gave me. Well, let me check out this website. Error 404, page not known. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Listen, when these people come out and say, oh, we got that took care of, these people gonna do that. When did they have time to put any infrastructure in for that? To transfer one department into another one. They just went in and cut it out. Y'all remember that, right? Y'all remember that? How Elon went in with the saw and went in and started gutting departments? Nobody moved any computer systems. They shut the buildings down and told everybody get out, remember? They called you from home, come into work so you can leave. Talk about incompetence. So, as the weather warms up and the natural disasters kicks in, let's not forget the terrorists. And we got the idiots on the text messaging. They texting everybody about the war that's going on, the missile strikes. Boy, this is going to be a shit show real quick. And I say, get out of the way and let them do it. Because they need to hurt. They need to feel it. They need to feel every bit of it. And I wouldn't feel bad at all. That would be a paper basketball in the garbage. See, hey, Charles, you know what I'm talking about. It's some serious paper basketball games going on. You know what I'm talking about. And hey, let's not forget, hey, Ronnie just said they talking about the Postal Service now too. Cutting down the Postal Service employees. Now guess what? We know why that is. Why is that, folks? Why are they fucking with the Postal Service? Let's see. Come on, I hear somebody saying it. It's the biggest union in the country. That's why. Because they hate unions. They literally hate unions. And remember, I told y'all, when DeJoy said he was stepping down, I told you, it was just reported. Oh, he's taking a position with Elon Musk to work out how to downsize the Postal Service. I told y'all that when the dude said he's stepping down as the Postmaster General, that's clear as a bell. He ain't stepping down for nothing. Stepping down under no pressure just for the hell of it. Give up this nice cushy job? Hell no. No, they don't want no union. And you're right. You know good and damn well they don't want the mail-in voting. Now see, that's another thing. Now you just mentioned the big one, Carmen. You just mentioned the big one. Mail-in voting. AOC and Bernie Sanders out there, they on the campaign trail right now, getting crowds, big crowds. What if there ain't no voting? See, a lot of people don't understand how diabolical this dude is. Now, understand something. Let's talk about that. This guy has already, Donald Trump, already trying to use a wartime law to deport people to prisons in countries they never been in. He's using a wartime law. They just launched an attack in Yemen. Understand something. When we are at war, the rules change. They getting momentum and trying to wake up Democrats. What good is that, though, if you don't have an election? What good is it if you don't have an election? See, these people are diabolical. These people are rotten. These people are no good. I would not put any of this past them. When you enact wartime laws and you start launching attacks, there will be an election for Senate coming up. Who says? Who says there'll be an election for Senate coming up? Who says we won't be in a war by then? Understand something. During wartime, the rules change. Okay? Now, hopefully, this actually does happen. It's every 6 years. You're missing my point, I think. If these people launch a war, if these people declare war, all of that changes. Now, let's say he doesn't do it and there's an election. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. All I'm saying is, he seems to be laying the groundwork. But I guarantee you one thing. I guarantee you two things. Two things. One, the people that support them need to feel the pain. He needs to, and this has been my feeling for the longest, they need to feel it because they need to understand where they fucked up. Okay? That's one thing. Number two, by the time anything happens, by the time they feel it, by the time this election comes around, hey, Carmen, if there's an election coming up, there's one coming up in another year. You know, we got election every other year. By the time that election comes up, imagine how much damage these people can have done by then. Imagine that. Imagine how much damage has been done at this point. At this point right here, the amount of damage that's been done. The stuff that's been done will take years to fix. And that's at this point right here. And check this out. I just happened to see this clip yesterday, and I'm going to play it. And it blew my mind. There's a guy named Brooks and a guy named Capehart, and they're usually on PBS. And when I heard this clip, understand, listen to this clip and tell me which one sounds a lot like what I just got through saying.
For more on the mood on the ground from voters and the other big political stories that are shaping the week, we turn now to the analysis of Brooks and Capehart. That is New York Times columnist David Brooks and Jonathan Capehart, associate editor for the Washington Post. Great to see you both. Yeah, let's pick up where Lisa left off there. David, kick us off here. The anger she reported on yesterday from people at a town hall for a Republican lawmaker in Nebraska, frustration with the Democratic lawmaker tonight. He's not doing more. What do you take away from this, and what do you think lawmakers are taking away from these town halls during this recess?
Yeah, it's a traumatic time, obviously. A lot of us feel traumatized and embarrassed, grief-ridden by what's happening in the country. But a couple things have to be said. First, the town halls are not representative of where the country is. Obviously, people who show up at a town hall are unrepresentative. And if you look where the country is, you've got to have anecdotes, like a town hall. Oh, maybe that's something. But then you got to have data. And so far, the polls show Trump is slipping a little, but not a lot. And so we haven't yet seen the kind of collapse the town halls kind of suggest. The second thing is, what does fight mean in this context? Like, we all want to fight back, but what does fight mean? Does fight mean going on social media and saying something all your followers agree with? Like, that doesn't sound like fighting to me. It may make you feel good, but that doesn't sound like fighting. And so to me, fighting is probably the wrong word in a democracy. Persuasion is the right word. And I do think there are persuadable Trump voters, and those are the people you have to care about. He's not going to worry if people in Indivisible don't like him. If you can persuade Trump voters that he is incompetent, don't go after moral outrage. Say he just doesn't know what he's doing and he's causing you serious harm, and specify what the harm is. He's taking away this medical care. He's taking away that. He's taking away that. You can't get your passport renewed. You can't get your VA benefits. The history shows you've got to have very specific things that they are losing, that people are losing, that Trump supporters are losing, that will get them to change their mind. Just screaming, marching, resistance, the stuff that was tried in 2017, don't really think that works.
Jonathan, persuade, not fight?
Breaking news. I disagree. I disagree. Look, when Democrats talk about fight, they're not talking about it in terms of violence, in terms of not having any purpose. People are angry. These aren't just progressives. It's not just people from Indivisible. It's people around the country who see what has been happening since January 20th and who are very angry and very afraid. And they run the political spectrum. And so I think it's a mistake to say that, to mistake, the fact that the president's polling is slipping but hasn't collapsed. Don't confuse that for the country not being angry. We're just 2 months in, and the president and Elon Musk have done so much in this time that the impact of what they have done is going to be felt. And the anger and the desire of people wanting Congress, but particularly Democrats, to fight back. And the fight is not just fighting without any reason or any purpose. What Democrats want is for their elected members to do what Trump did for his members. Trump's followers and supporters like him because he fights. He doesn't necessarily win, but he shows that he is fighting for them because he's standing up for them. Democrats want their elected officials to stand up for them.
Now, what Mr. Capehart is saying is your typical Democratic intellectual spiel. Mr. Brooks was absolutely correct. Did not it sound a heck of a lot similar to what I've been saying? You got to get his people against him. That's the only thing that's going to help this situation. Now, Mr. Capehart, talking the same old stuff. You know, everybody's mad. They want the Democrats want to feel like the people are fighting for them. He ain't saying what the fighting is. Now, Mr. Brooks explained what the fighting should be. You know, maybe it shouldn't be fighting. Maybe you should be convincing the MAGA crowd, hey, this guy fucking you. Okay? That's what you need to be doing. I might have said it a little different. They need to feel the pain. You need to be advertising in every area that they are in that, hey, this guy's fucking you. You need to do that. He said it a little different. You know, hey, you're losing your VA benefits. You know, Mr. Brooks, he said, hey, tell the people, you're losing your VA benefits. You can't get your Social Security. You know, you're having problems. You can't call nobody. You can't talk to nobody on the phone, and show them that this is the reason you can't. It's Trump's fault that you can't. That's what they got to know. Until you get them to understand that, we can have all the agreement in the world. The Democrats can get out and campaign all day, every day. You can get the biggest crowds in the world. If and when you have an election, you got to have the people that's coming out to vote. Nah. Hey, let's find out. Let's find out. It's plain and simple. Until them fools understand the error way of their ways. Until they understand the error of their ways. The mistake of putting these people in office. Until then, it's going to be more of the same. Now, I said it. Okay? I said it. So, anyway, well, excuse me, it's that time again. I kind of ran over on time. I didn't even get to this last part. We'll talk about the journalists in our next get together. The absolutely poor journalism that we got going on in this country. So we'll discuss that when we come back Wednesday. See you, Carmen. We'll talk Wednesday. Hey, everybody. Appreciate y'all showing up. I got on my soapbox again. Well, I'll get on it again Wednesday. Hey, appreciate y'all. See you Wednesday. Take it easy.